The first time I met my wife's billionaire grandfather, I accidentally told him his entire family was waiting for him to die, and he actually thanked me for it. Listen, I grew up in a double wide in Ohio. My idea of a luxury vacation was driving 2 hours to a public water park. So, when my wife, Sarah, invited me to her family's annual summer retreat in Martha's Vineyard, I had absolutely no idea what I was walking into. Sarah always downplayed her wealth. She drove a beat-up Honda Civic. But pulling up to this massive coastal estate was like driving into a movie set. The driveway alone was longer than my hometown street. The main house looked like it belonged to a 19th century railroad baron. But the crazy part wasn't the yachts, it was the vibe. The entire weekend was a complete masterclass in aggressive sucking up. Everyone in that house was orbiting Sarah's grandfather, Arthur, like he was the sun, and they desperately needed a tan. Arthur was 84, sharp as a tack, and controlled a real estate empire worth billions. Every time Arthur walked into a room, the temperature shifted. Her cousins would literally trip over each other just to light his cigar. I watched her uncle pretend to lose a game of chess to Arthur so poorly, it was actually embarrassing to watch. Meanwhile, I just felt completely out of place. I spent most of Saturday afternoon sitting on the wooden dock, talking to the groundskeeper about fixing a flooded carburetor. Then came Sunday night, the big mandatory family dinner. The tension at the massive 22-person dining table was thick enough to slice with a butter knife. Everyone was jockeying for position, dropping casual hints about startup ideas or charities they wanted Arthur to fund. Arthur sat at the head of the table, slowly cutting his steak, looking miserable. Out of nowhere, Arthur dropped his silver fork, clinking it loudly against the fine china. The whole table went dead silent. He looked down the line of fake smiles and locked eyes right on me. "You," he barked, his voice echoing in the dining room. "The quiet boy from Ohio. You've been silent all weekend. What do you make of all this?" Sarah squeezed my hand under the table, her knuckles totally white. The message was crystal clear. Play the game. Tell him the estate is lovely and the family is charming. But honestly, I was exhausted by the relentless theater. I looked at Arthur, took a very slow sip of my water, and decided to just tell him the absolute truth. "Well, Arthur," I said, leaning back in my chair, "I think you've got a beautiful house, but I wouldn't trade places with you for all the money in the world." You could hear a pin drop. Sarah's aunt actually gasped. Arthur raised an eyebrow, staring a hole right through me. "And why is that?" "Because," I said, gesturing around the giant table, "I grew up totally broke. But at least when my family asked how I was doing, they actually wanted to know the answer. I've watched your family for 3 solid days, and not a single person has talked to you. They've only talked at your wallet. It looks incredibly lonely." I braced myself.